Bad End Saga, Addendum, Surpasser Encyclopedia, Part 3. Chapter 5. Life Expectancy of a Surpasser. The average life expectancy of a surpasser depends on various factors, such as the body, or as Neo-Ethereans call it, vessel they inhabit. For animals, it's usually, but not always, around the average lifespan of said animals, although there have been documented cases of some animal surpassers having lived centuries or even millennia. As for humanoid surpassers, their life expectancy varies wildly from case to case. Some live very short lives but create a massive impact in reality itself during those few short years. Other times, they live the average span of a typical human life. Others still have lived so long it makes concepts like immortality and reincarnation seem like mere constructs. Many of these such cases get labeled as glitches in the system, or matrix, as some like to say. Then there are examples such as artificial surpassers. Many of the more outdated or shoddily put together artificial surpassers will last anywhere from a few weeks up to a month. Some success has been made at the preservation of both old and new artificial surpassers, but every now and then whatever constitutes as normal behavior for them malfunctions, and they can act wildly irrational and erratic. Many such cases wind up either scrap metal, discontinued, rebooted, or in the most extreme cases, outright terminated. Those labeled as premium artificial surpassers usually last around a century or two. It is very rare for them to last much longer than that. With the rise of the theory of planned obsolescence in Neo-Etherean society, many such models from even 10, 12, 15 years ago don't even exist anymore, much less considered worthy of conversation. Any model that cannot last beyond a mere 5 years is considered defective and immediately sent towards the scrap heap to be repurposed into whatever today's new brand of artificial surpasser is classified as. Even so, stories whisper on the wind and in hushed circles of models long thought discontinued, appearing in the corner of people's eyes, only to vanish from sight when people look in any particular direction. Notable surpassers in Neo-Etherean history. Aetherius the Grand, the first true ruler of Neo-Etheria, said to have been born during the time of the original Aetheria's existence. Bold, wise, noble, and until his final days, almost always benevolent. He built the backbone and ethics upon which all of Neo-Etherean society operates to this very day. Some say they see him in their dreams at night and in the morning are immediately blessed with fortunes and circumstances thought existentially impossible. Not just impossible, but improbable, unthinkable, unimaginable. While not a constant guarantee, those who have been blessed with visions of Aetherius are said to one day, if not immediately, wind up surpassers themselves. Many such people who see them in their dreams, much less frequently, claim to recall seeing patterns of 51012 everywhere they look, both while asleep and after waking. What this number combination truly means has stumped the greatest of Neo-Etherean philosophers for time untold. Ethris, the capable puzzler. Aetherius' second-born son, and the current ruler of Neo-Etheria to this very day. Joyful, loving, but also excessively loud when excited. He is said to have lived for untold millennia, yet never having aged beyond the typical 80-year-old human. He possesses knowledge many consider baffling, hence the puzzler part of his title. When seen by himself in his chambers, it is often said he is laughing with delight playing a game of falling blocks made by the humans. He says it often reminds him of himself, but rarely ever seems to go into any detail beyond that. He is seen by many Neo-Ethereans as a bit odd at first, but once they meet him they can't help but laugh with genuine joy and delight themselves in his presence. It is said his very smile and laughter heal even the illest of ill. Rumors spread of him creating miracles where those on death's door suddenly stood back up, shook his hand, smiled, and thanked him for convincing the Reaper they had more to do. All around a very pleasant fellow. Atharax the Null, the first true dictator to ever invade Neo-Etherean society. He is cold, callous, but also prideful and arrogant. He is considered the very reason concepts of shadow and chaos surpassers became discussed. On the first day of total war with Neo-Etheria, he slaughtered countless people by the hundreds of thousands. It is said the war was eventually ended by the appearance of a mysterious magician not listed anywhere in Neo-Etherean records before, nor since. Chapter 5.5 Liminal Space Entities. Stories are told of beings that exist outside the typical confines of time and space, realms that blur the lines between reality and dreams. Some speak of roads forever stretching forward and backwards into the distance infinitely. Others speak of spaces with winding corners that seem to loop back around onto themselves, twisting in ways thought physically and scientifically impossible. Others speak of seasides that extend forever into the horizon, every probable way but backwards. Still others speak of meeting a man in his pajamas and a nightcap, sleeping all day and night until someone tries to wake him. Here are just a few examples of these supposed such entities. Milos, the cat down the road. A mysterious being said to take the form of a small black cat. It seems to know knowledge that exists before the concept of time itself, and can cause thunderstorms to appear in places they should be statistically and scientifically impossible. That said, many beings who encounter it speak of having the most deep and thought-provoking philosophical conversations with it, so much so that they almost immediately forget they're talking to a cat, or at least, a being in cat form. It lives in a realm where the roads stretch out in every which way, both forward and into the horizon. It claims to have lived before the concept of life was even documented, and it says it is always waiting for the big day. When asked about the supposed big day, though, no one can ever seem to get an answer that makes sense within the typical language and structure of time. Thothos, the dog up the street. A similar entity in a similar realm, but taking on the form of a dog. The exact breed seems to vary with every encounter. Sometimes it's a golden retriever, sometimes it's a border collie or a beagle. Other times it's something small such as a Westie or Chihuahua. If it's feeling especially happy, it may take on the form of a corgi or wiener dog. It speaks in broken English, often saying things like, "Hi, I Thothos." He, or she, often appears to be very happy, and is said to make souls who enter his realm sad or depressed forget their worries and limitations within 2 to 3 days. He collects pictures of tennis balls and other such spherical objects a typical dog may enjoy. He even will offer a visitor a whole bag of dog treats for spending time with him. Despite this, he isn't a lonely dog, but boy does he enjoy visitors ever so much. He mentions, albeit in broken English, that he's lost count of how many people have come by his house, but he always makes them feel welcome. Tylos, the puppy around the corner. Another such dog-like being, but this time covered in collars that seem to go beyond the typical spectrum of what Earth beings recognize. He is even more silly and hyperactive than Thothos, and many people say that while they laugh and enjoy their time around him, they can't always understand the points he's trying to express. Stories have told of him meeting new entrants to his realm and licking their faces nonstop for what many people describe as 5 to 8 hours. Unlike Thothos, he often sticks to the form of a smaller dog breed. Most encounters often describe him as corgi shaped. He collects sticks, many of odd colors that seem beyond human or even neo-Etherean comprehension. And if you give him the chance, he will describe each and every one of them, where he got it from, who gave it to them, which he claims were often previous visitors, and even any other detail he can think of about the stick, for what feels like another 4 to 7, possibly 7.5 hours. 8 again if you're really unlucky. Some come back to regular space saying that they find him cute, lovable, and funny. Others write him off as just odd, and maybe a bit too quirky for any reasonable adult. Many adults in particular claim meeting him seeming like a fever dream. Kirinor, the kitten by the bay. A being appearing as a small gray and black striped kitten. It never speaks, but is very loving and affectionate. It often sits by a bay that stretches every way which way indefinitely, other than behind it. It will often lead people to various shiny rocks, minerals, shells, and other such materials that then suddenly wind up in a plastic bucket near a person's bedroom door when woken up. Rare cases of encounters with it, however, describe it not doing any of the above, but instead spinning up in a perpetually circular motion, making a noise that sounds like ooh ee ah ooh over and over until the dreamer wakes up. Said encounters often end with the dreamer waking up and questioning if they ate or drank something strange last night. Mirador, the Dozen One. A being that manifests itself as an adult male in his pajamas and a nightcap. He sleeps indefinitely until someone tries to wake him up, at which point he gets up, stretches, and smiles as if he just had the most refreshing sleep of his life. If you ask him how long he's lived, or more importantly, been asleep, he'll shrug his shoulders and say he doesn't remember. Despite sleeping almost all the time, he really enjoys company and will take the time to listen quietly and patiently to the stories of everyone who visits his realm. Smiling, not saying a word, utterly enthralled, even if others would find the story very benign and uninteresting. It is said that Athrax once tried to invade his realm, only to disappear from public mention, memory, or otherwise recognition for 500 years. On the 501st, he reappeared, but had forgotten who he was, what he was doing, and anyone he had ties with, whether friend or foe. By the time he had him remembered, another 10 decades had passed, and by that point he was already successfully detained once again. End of Draft 2.